Hello, welcome to episode 2 of InfoSec with Ruby. In this episode, we're going to be learning how to maintain file integrity through the use of hashing algorithms. So in the last episode, I went over encryption and I actually misspoke a little bit. I got encryption and hashing confused. So they are pretty similar, but there are some key differences. For example, encryption is reversible, meaning that you can scramble the data and get its original form back, where hashing is irreversible. So we typically use hashing to do things like store passwords or to maintain file integrity, like making sure the file isn't changed by creating a hash of that file. And you'll notice that with every git commit that you make, it generates a unique hash for that commit. Alrighty. But enough of the theoretical work, let us learn how to use hashing in Ruby. So the first thing we're going to do is require the digest module right here. And we can create a hash by first referencing the digest module, calling the hash algorithm that we want to use. There are a variety of hash algorithms in the digest module. For example, we could do SHA-1, which is actually outdated, so don't use that. MD5, SHA-2, RMD160, and there's a bunch more, but for now we're going to go with SHA-2. And then you call the hex digest method, and then you can pass in your data. So we'll print out our hash, and we will run our file, and we'll see we get a unique digest. So the strength of the hashing algorithm I'm using is out of my scope, but you always want to make sure you're using, a proper hash algorithm. There are deterministic and indeterministic hash algorithms, so you want to look into that as well. So a deterministic hash algorithm means that every time you run the algorithm, you get the same. If you run it with the same data, you get the same output. Whereas an indeterministic algorithm, if you give the algorithm, the same data, you'll get a different output. So just keep that in mind when choosing your your hashing algorithms. So the output of running the algorithm is what's known as a digest. And you'll see that any slight change to our input data will lead to a whole new digest. So we're just going to save the digest right here. And then if we add a space to the data we're hashing, we will get a totally new hash. And we're going to compare the original hash to the hash we just created. And you'll see that they are completely different. So very different indeed. Just one little bit, one space changes the output of the digest in a tremendous way, which is why this is so useful for maintaining file integrity. We want to make sure that no one is slipping, some code into our file without us knowing. But anyway, we're going to create a class called hasher, which we're going to use to it will basically be able to maintain file integrity. So we'll initialize our class with a file, and we'll just create a file. And we read that file like so. And then we're going to create a hash of the file. But first, we're going to need to create a hasher method, and you'll see that you can actually take a hash of a hash just to make your data even stronger. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to do we're going to make a SHA-2 of an MD5. So we call SHA-2 hex digest, and we pass this our MD5 hash like so. and we'll pass in our file like so. And what we can do is we will create a valid method, which will take a new file. Oops. So the def valid question mark new file. So we do file dot open new file comma r dot read. The file manipulation in Ruby is pretty simple. Just read permission, then we read all of the data in the file, and then we're going to compare our original hash with the hash of the file that we are placing in. So pretty simple here. And I have this test.txt file, which contains 3 lines. So we're going to create a new hasher object like so. Hasher dot new. And I pass in the file name, and because it's in my local directory, I don't have to worry about slashes or anything. And now we're going to do we're just going to print this out, p at file, p at hash. We can do this. We'll do, we don't need to do that. But anyway, we'll initialize this like so. We see that we read our file, we have the new line characters, and then we have the hash of our original file. And you can just take any random file in your in whatever your current directory is, and you can do this. You can do object.valid question mark, and I'm just going to do dates.rb. This is on my system, and then we will see that these hashes are not equal, but if I pass in the same file, you'll see this will now return a true value, and now we have created a object-oriented system for maintaining file integrity, and we're upping our security by creating a hash of a digest. All right, that is it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Please check out the Corey's Corner podcast and be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next episode.